Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 and welcome back to Small Bites. I am super excited to launch season 2 of Small Bites. The summer was amazing. I found that I needed that time to just kind of decompress and get some time away from everything, especially after the teaching season, the 15 months or so prior. I'm hearing from educators all over the country that this summer was especially necessary, and I hope that you're all taking pretty good care of yourself even now. So, learning loss. I'm going to try not to be mad, but honestly, I have a few issues with that word because I know that when we use certain words, certain phrases, when we promote a narrative to people, if you say, you just gonna grow up to be a deadbeat just like your daddy, guess what? That pretty much means you are sowing the seeds for this person to feel bad about themselves and to end up being something other than the best they could be. So if you're a kid, you are hearing learning loss. If you're an older kid, you might be even reading learning loss. I hope that we will all make a concerted effort not to use those words. There's some great words like, Julia, thank you if you're out there. We're going to do a hard reset. We cannot recapture the last months. We can't recapture learning since May 5th, 2020. That's not possible. If someone asks you to, here, I want you in this year to make sure that you make up all the work that you didn't get to do at your job because you were off days and days and weeks and months, that wouldn't be possible. So we are measuring by a standard that is from 2019 and before. Now, if you look at test results and if you check the blog, all of that kind of stuff is going to be in there. The test results of the testing that we've used for years and years and years, actually, we've invested a whole lot more money than the kinds of outcomes we've gotten. We have not drastically changed education because we've seen data. So there's some disconnect there. I'm not smart enough to know what that is. But if you know, I hope that you'll reach out, find me on Twitter, on Instagram, and let me know. So my vignette tonight is not just about learning loss. It's about my little boy. Well, he's pretty much a man now. But when he was a little kid, he was losing coats. He was always, sweetheart, first of all, we moved from Switzerland when he was 6. So he really wasn't used to warm weather being called winter. So here, put your coat on, honey. He lost coats every year and jackets, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And then finally, somewhere about 7th grade, I realized, hey, I haven't had to go to the schools lost and found in a while. And now, recently, last year, he was in his very first dress coat that he bought with his own money. And the peacoat, he was doing silly stuff in the parking lot at the high school down the street with some friends of his. He did a jump and roll, back up and ran. Well, guess what? It ripped the inside lining of the coat. So there's some choices. We can fix the coat. We can replace the coat. But the coat is not unusable because some part of the inner lining was lost. So instead of treating this whole learning loss thing like something that is going to impact kids negatively that weren't going to be impacted negatively otherwise, because that's kind of where we are. We're pretending that COVID learning has damaged people irreparably and they'll never recover. That's just not true. First of all, I believe in our kids. I believe in the indomitable human spirit. And I know that especially populations who've had to struggle anyway, somehow we just manage to be okay. So I want you to start teaching to your kids, reminding them what they learned. Ask them, hey, what did you learn? What did you learn that you wouldn't have learned in school? What have you learned while you were at home? I've read beautiful vignettes from kids who say, I spent more time with my brother. I really got to hang out with him. I usually didn't see my family, but now I do. Now I did. So those are the kind of wins we want to look. And there's some great resources in the blog that talk about the kinds of wins. I know for one, my son became a crack Southern cook. So today for lunch, he made the house still smells like what he made. He made steak and rice and all that good stuff. I know y'all get tired of hearing about Chris, but I'm just saying the dude's all right with me. He's awesome. But the thing about it is, if we don't remember that asset based is always better than looking at losses and deficits for empowering students to learn and know that they can achieve, then we're going to be lost. But as long as we remember to empower our learners, we're going to be okay. All right, for the Friday Five this week, if you have 20 to 30 minutes, I'd like you to do an academic skim of the Learning Loss Handbook from the Human Restoration Project. Now, if you have more time, read it in its entirety over the next few days and make an action plan that will help you implement the new context and knowledge that you learn. If you've got 15 to 20 minutes, take that same document and do an intense read and reflection on pages 11 through 17. They ask questions like, is this question important? At what cost are you going to teach your students to answer this question correctly? And it also gives you a bit of a history of the concept of learning loss and summer slide and academic gaps and all of those things. All right, if you have 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to have you comb through the Brown Center's report on American testing trends, and you'll get to see, looking back over since the 90s, and get to see some information on the No Child Left Behind legislation when we were coming out of Jim Crow and seeing that there were educational gaps. One thing we have to remember is that we didn't have access to equal facilities really in the country, all over the country until the 70s. So the gaps go way back to before testing. And we need to look at what that looks like in a much larger context than just the right learning measurement instruments. All right, if you have 5 to 10 minutes, I want you to read this wonderful article from two Augsburg professors, Jennifer Diaz and Joaquin Munoz, and they are quoted in the blog, and they basically talk about how the whole concept of learning loss demonizes communities and families, and it demonizes the learning that was happening every day, the resilience that was gained, the strengths that were gained every day while children were outside of a formal learning setting. Because there is no bad learning. Well, okay, you know what I mean. All right, finally, if you have 0 to 5 minutes, I'd like you to read this article from AmeriCorps City Year on why the word learning loss is not the best term. Again, you've got interrupted learning, unfinished learning. Those terms are better, but unfinished means you didn't finish. Learning loss means you lost your coat, you're in trouble. Interrupted learning is better because at least that puts the interruption on something external. So empower your kids. I love hard reset. It says, let's start where we are and just reset and go from here. That's what we need to be doing. I want to thank Julie again for that wonderful, wonderful term. In the chat, yes, thank you, Allison. Everything is on Hedrick.com, and the name of it is the Learning Loss Handbook, and it's from Human Restoration Project at HumResPro on Twitter. And again, all the links you can find at Hedrick.com. I want to say hello to my friends. Hey, Thad. Hey, Anna. Hey, Allison. Chris. Kelly. Thank you. Hey, Landon. You got this, bro. All right, I want to thank you all for coming back. Again, if you have questions, hit me up at 5smallbites at Gmail, or you can just click one of the wonderful links on the homepage and you'll find me, and I'd be more than happy to go back and forth with you about some stuff. Hey, Derek. Oh, hey, Tracy. Mama, hey. Again, thank you all so much for coming back. I will see y'all next Friday night, same time, same place. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.